In this lesson, we're going to look at how to do a single point track using video footage and tracking its position so that another layer follows the video footage position. So to start with, we're going to need to import some layers or import some files. So go into our import, and in your source files, you'll find the SF Muni logo and the single point track video. You're going to import both of these. And we'll start by making a composition out of our single point track video by dragging it down to our new composition icon. And what we have here is just the San Francisco Muni train pulling away from a station. What we're going to do is we're going to cover over this logo, put our own logo on top of it, and then have the logo pull out from there as the train pulls away. So to do this, we're going to need to put something to cover over this other logo first, and that's where our single point tracking is going to kind of come into place. But first, let's take our existing logo, place it on top, and scale it down. And you can do this either by grabbing these points and holding down shift after you start pulling them in to scale to constrain the proportions, or you can use your scale options within your layers here, your scale property. So about 40% should do. Okay. So now that we got it placed and everything, we're going to need something to cover up the other one. So if we go to Layer, New, Solid, make a new solid, we're going to use our eyedropper to grab this gray color. And it's a pretty flat gray, so we won't have to do a gradient on it, I don't believe. But that should make it a little bit, we can just do a big block to cover it up. And for our width, we're going to use 120, and our height is going to be 60. And I measured this out beforehand. Okay. So this will be used to cover up the other logo. So I'm going to hide my existing one and just make sure it fully covers it up. All right, looks pretty good. You might be able to see it a little bit, but not too bad. There we go. Pretty good placement. So obviously when the train pulls away, it's going to leave the border behind or the cover up behind. And we don't want that. We want it to stay covered. So what we can do is we will select our single point track, and you can right click and go down to track motion, which is right below warp stabilizer. But since it's going to not show up within our screen, what we'll do is we'll bring the tracker panel back up, and we're going to choose to track motion. What this will do is it'll give you this single track point, and it's going to be broken up into three sections. We have our attach point, which is where the anchor point or the center of the layer is going to attach to. We have our border right here, or our feature region, which is going to be the area that we're trying to cover up, the area that we want to read, and basically the pixel changes that we want to look at, the contrast between light and dark and color values. And then we have a search region as well, which is the outer border right here. And that's going to be looking for where those changes occur at. So what we want to do is we're going to place this as close as possible to the center of our Muni logo, and then we're going to start pulling these out. So we want our feature region to get the entire logo in, but really close to the edges, but you want to make sure everything gets in there. And then your search region is going to be another 50 or between 30 to 50 pixels outside of there. I'm going to get it right to the edges here. That way it knows what to look for in case this starts sliding out. If it gets too close, it's going to lose the search and it's going to get a really bad track. So something like this should work pretty well. Now once you have your area set up, you can go ahead and click on Analyze Forward, which is this play button down here in our tracker panel. Zoom out a little bit so we can see and make sure that the whole thing is going. And it should track pretty well. If you notice it's starting to slide off, you can always pause the video, make an adjustment to this, then start the video back up, and it'll pick up from where you pause it and keep what was working well and then get rid of the new parts that may not be working so well. But it looks like ours is working pretty well. Of course, once it starts sliding off, then it runs into problems because it can't search anymore. But that's right, by then we'll have the whole video faded out. So we get a pretty good track just from that. Like I said, if you have issues, you could always stop the video, change the position of it, and then start applying forward from there. And it'll create new track points for you. You can see I totally screwed mine up, which I didn't want to do, but just to show you guys how it can be done. And then we can stop at that point. Once you see it starting to slide off, you might as well just stop the video because you're not going to need any of those points. Now we need to choose what it's going to be affecting. And if your logo's on top, it's going to pick your logo to track it to, which is not what we want. We want our logo to stay in place and zoom out while it's pulling away. So what we can do is we'll click on Edit Target. We'll switch it from the logo to our solid layer. Click OK. And then once you got everything working well, you can click on Apply. Leave it at X and Y. We want to track both X and Y dimensions. And click OK. And what you'll see is it remains covered up as it goes through. Now it obviously tints a little bit, so that's going to be a little bit of an issue, but by then I think we'll have it completely faded out so it won't be noticeable.